Hello and welcome. Today we'll create a new table in Access. We do this off of the Create tab and click the command Table. A generic Table 1 table is created. I'm going to right click on this tab and choose the command Save and name my table using a lowercase tbl and then the table name Courses. We'll choose no spaces in the table name and click OK. You'll see that this table has been added over here in the Object List navigation pane, and all of my objects contain no spaces. That is the standard naming convention used in Access. To add fields into the Courses table, again I'm going to right click on this tab and go into the Design view. These views can also be accessed off of the Ribbon tab by clicking the View command, and you'll see that the two views right now in this table are Datashape view and the Design view, of which we're in right now. And now we're ready to add in our fields for this table. My first field will be Course ID, and then I'm just using my downward arrow on the keyboard to add the remaining fields in this table. Give me a moment here. To add in the remaining fields. I've added in the fields that I desire in this particular table, and as I hit the downward arrow on my keyboard, observe that Access will automatically use a data type of auto number for the very first field and then short text for the remaining fields in this table. If I choose to change the data types, I can do that by clicking in the field and using this drop down arrow and choosing from amongst the various data types that are available. I'm leaving short text for most of these fields except for the cost of the course. I will change that to currency, and that will be the only one I will change. Other things to observe, I will be going back to course date, and now the other area that to pay attention to is this bottom part where we can change the field properties. For course ID, I do want to make sure that that is indexed, and it is. Course name, I'm changing the field size so that it isn't 255, the default for short text. I'm changing that to 150 field size and length, trying to control the size of my database by controlling the size of my fields. And you'll also observe that this is not indexed. I do want to change that to an indexed field and not allowing any duplicates. So you can see that there is a duplicates OK and duplicates not OK. And I don't want a duplicate on the course name. Alright, that takes care of that one. The course description, changing that field size to 200. Hours in class, changing this one to 2. Prerequisite, changing this field size to 100. Cost of course, because we changed it to currency, the properties automatically changed to currency. Decimal places, observe that this is set to auto, so that could range anywhere from 0 all the way up to many. I want to reserve this to 2 since it is, we are talking dollars and cents. So I'm changing that. Sometimes you'll get this little lightning bolt, and that will let us update any data that currently exists in a table. And so if I click that, you'll see that no objects needed to be updated. So that can be kind of handy. And then course notes, the last one. You'll see the default again, 255. I'm going to leave it at 255. And so now when I right click and click close, it'll prompt me for a save. Click yes. And now I've created that new table, courses, and if I were to double click it, it does open it up and it shows me that I've added this particular table to my database. One other thing that I want to explore, I'm going to go back into the design view and take a look one more time at a couple of items. You'll see that the course ID is a primary key, and so that is indicating to Access that that field will be unique to this table. And the course name down at the bottom right here, required. We want to make sure that this in this particular field is a required field, so that when data gets put into the table, that we make sure that this particular field must have some data in it. And so you can see that fields can be controlled for each, field properties can be controlled for each of the fields that we have in any of the tables. And so that's how we can control not only what goes into a table, but how we can make a field unique to a table, and then also if we need data in a particular field, how we can make it required. And then indexing controls how fast a search is performed against tables in a database. And then finally, controlling the size of a field also helps us control the size of the database and also how fast the database performs. That's how you can add a new table into a database.